Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and this is things I learned with Miracles and Arteezy's OD in 703. In my opinion, the biggest strength of OD in lane is not only getting easy last hits with Astral Imprisonment, it's denying golden experience with the skill. Great ODs know how to sync those two things. So in the first creep wave, we already see OD setting up for a play like that. First, he draws the aggro towards his range creep, while at the same time the enemy range creep starting to take damage. As soon as Ember goes to harass OD, close to the enemy range creep mind you, he commits Astral, allowing an easy last hit and a deny. So with that play alone, Miracle has close to 50% more experience than Ember, and the beauty of OD is being able to reliably pull off stuff like that. In the next creep wave, there were two close to dying melee creeps, so instead of trying to pull off that range creep play again, he managed to get 3 last hits while also guaranteeing good creep equilibrium in the next wave. Since Ember is a melee hero, he doesn't need to commit to level 2 Astral right away and gets 1 extra point of the passive. I have seen some players going for the max Arcane Orb build against melee heroes, but a lot of players don't know how to do it correctly in this patch, so let's learn. The thing about maxing Arcane Orb is that you can't get it too early, or else you risk having no mana in lane to sustain the pressure, as well as not having the setup and deny capabilities of Astral Imprisonment. So you can see that after level 4 onwards, he starts getting points in Arcane Orb, and at this point it's very scary for Ember to show up there. On top of that, he gets an extra no talisman, and that's actually becoming pretty common even when you don't go for Veil, which now seems to be pretty much never. I feel like this is basically a way to deal with the low base attack damage from OD and to give him a tiny bit of extra mana. You really need at least 2 levels of the passive to sustain some aggression with Arcane Orb, so at level 6 his build looks like this. I really like the progression, and I feel that it makes a lot of sense, especially against melee heroes. I also like the item progression a lot. Instead of trying to rush threads, he goes for Magic Wand and Raindrops at around the 5th to 6th minute mark, where most of the aggressive moves are going to happen. Those two items together make way more difference defensive wise than threads. One single full Raindrops will give him 120 extra HP, while threads, if he's wearing them on strength, and that's excluding more Raindrop procs, Magic Wand, and the fact that they are way cheaper than finishing threads. The item is better aggressively, but it's very unlikely that he will be able to reliably attack a level 6 Ember a lot of times. In this series of clips, we actually see the combination of skill build and his item choices paying off. First, Nick shows up in the mid lane, and with a good Impale while Invis, Miracle lands a decent amount of right clicks. I feel like Miracle used Astral to try to cancel the roll animation, but in the end it was too fast, but he gets the kill regardless. At this point he has 12 int stolen, but keep watching. Ember and Nerf Spirit initiate on him, and he just right clicks Ember to death. Magic Wand guarantees him the extra burst of HP needed, and he just heals back up with a self. At this point, Ember has to completely abandon the lane, and the only timing window Radiant has to gank Miracle now is after the int stolen wears off, or Radiant can gank him with every hero available besides Abaddon. And even then, OD kills Ember before dying. If Spirit Breaker showed up slightly faster, maybe he brings even more people with him. This fight showcases a lot of the differences between the normal Astral build compared to maxing Arcane Orb. Just watch the entire clip first. Miracle would probably had level 2 Arcane Orb in that fight and would do way less damage overall. Not only that, but having 52 stolen int really ramps up his pushing power after winning the fight, as well as his strength for the next fight if Radiant decides to do so. So why people don't go for that build every game? Usually against a ranged hero, you can't create so much momentum towards your team because the ranged hero can trade hits with you, unlike Ember. I also like that he waits his Hurricane Pike before forcing himself forward, as well as committing the hammer. Even though it doesn't deal so much damage, by taking 40% of the enemy mana pool, he is very confident in the absence of counterplay from Rubik or Ember, and he was right. Since Miracle won the laning phase so hard, even though he died to a few ganks later on, he can overpower Raiden in fights. Take this fight for instance. Every intelligence stolen is gone, and on top of that is nighttime, meaning that the early Kodo Eggs is close to useless. When Abba TPs in, pay attention how he finishes the tower off first, while he disengages on Abba while also stealing intelligence. He keeps buying time to make full use of his ult later into the fight. As they disengage, pay attention how he gives Abba just another slap to trigger ult without risking anything. When Lifestealer decides to reinitiate, Miracle doesn't commit Astro, instead he keeps dragging the enemy out of their base. Only later on he commits Astro, completely wasting Lifestealer's cooldowns. He bought enough time for the hammer and 2 heroes are dead already. Miracle plays pretty well in this fight, but the OD peak in itself was great as well. A lot of melee heroes guarantee tons of chances to steal intelligence in these dragged out fights. When they dive Rubik, pay attention where Miracle positions himself after Astro. He doesn't want to stun his allies in case he gets lifted, but Rubik doesn't have time to react at all. What's scary about OD in this stage of the game is that even though his ult was spent and he doesn't have that trick under his sleeve anymore, he packs 60 extra intelligence for pretty much the next minute, allowing them to pretty much siege that tower uncontested and retreat. In this Arteezy game, he is against one of the hardest mid matchups that OD faces, Sniper. On top of that, there is an Ogre harassing him. I like that he doesn't wait to get lower in HP before eating the branch with Tangle, since his self is reaching him and he knows that Ogre will harass him more, so this means that he will have an overall higher HP percentage and it will be harder to kill him. As Ogre closes the gap, pay attention to Arteezy's decision making. A lot of people will try to Astro him ASAP, but Arteezy allows Ogre to hit him only to drag him a little bit closer in a way that when he Astros, Ogre will take creep damage because they are coming. It feels like a lot of players are going for the double no talisman build now. Arteezy in this game goes for it and Abad builds it in some of his games. The skill build is very obviously different. Not only Sniper has way more attack range than OD, so maxing Orb doesn't make a lot of sense. It's very hard to trade hits against the Sniper because of the attack speed low. Since he can't harass the Sniper, the double no talisman is very good to get denies and less hits, since OD has bad attack damage. Arteezy tries to deal with Sniper denying his creeps the best he can. One good way of getting some less hits against him is using Astro on the creeps, since walking up to Sniper after level 4 is going to be very hard. Midas is one very frequent pickup in this meta. Even though you can farm somewhat reliably with OD using Astro, it's not a fast process. Midas synergizes very well with the concept of the hero and gives him some mid and late game potential. This clip showcases very well how hard it is for Arteezy to deal with Sniper in lane. He can't walk up to him, and as he walks back, he's taking damage from headshot, he takes shrapnel damage as well as creep punches. Another good aspect of maxing Astral early against Sniper is that the low cooldown of the skill allows you to dodge and save allies from assassinate. In this clip, even though Sniper cancels the skill, the cast animation was enough for Wind Range and Bounty to close the gap, guaranteeing them 1 kill. As he goes for the lane to the jungle, notice how he uses Astro in range creep. Not only level 4 Astro kills both of the range creeps instantly, he can prep all the melee ones to die almost all at once. One of the big problems of farming with Astro is that it's fine in lane, but in the jungle you're always going to take some damage. In this camp for instance, Arteezy tries to prep the creeps so all of them die at once, but I don't like he left the big wolf out and Astro the chibi one, because he takes way more damage. In the other jungle camp, you can see that he finds a spot where the AoE from Astro will hit that potato regardless of where he is, and that's pretty good. I also like that this time he Astro the strong creep. He does the same thing here. One thing to note is that Midas seems to be the most purchased item on OD when you're not playing against a melee mid or a mid you can win against, almost none of them at this point. This results in a more farm heavy style, and learning how to farm the jungle efficiently, dealing damage with Astro and taking little damage is very important to succeed. If you watch this replay, Arteezy basically farmed for 10 minutes straight with OD. That means he won this game because the enemy team was bad and didn't pressure lanes and fights right? Well, the important part is the farming pattern that he utilized. You can farm the jungle AFK like you did before because of the new respawn timer, and keeping your farm up while holding your towers is what differentiates good players from mediocre ones. In this video, Arteezy sacrificed himself so that those 3 heroes that were hidden are unable to take the tier 1 mid, a Patriot. In all honesty though, pay attention to Arteezy after he TPs back. Look how he deals with each type of creep and farm his way into the jungle in a very efficient and clean way. This might seem easy to pull off, but try to do it perfectly like he does here, and you're going to see how many small mistakes and imperfections will show up, and the time you lose will add up. He farms the entire Radiant jungle up while pushing top, and then he farms his way back to the mid lane since it's 15 minutes. As the enemy is bottom, he goes back to push the lane even more. Soon enough, Oracle is forced to TP in the shrine and the push is halted. Since after the small engagement, Radiant heroes will go to the lanes Arteezy pushed or heal, he TPs exactly where the fight took place, because it's pushed, but also because the enemies will retreat. Finally, with his Hurricane Pike ready, he feels ready to fight. They get a pick off, and since he knows his team is definitely going to get the tower, he immediately TPs mid. All the Radiant heroes are top, and that's more pressure that they will have to react to guarantee him free farming the jungle later on. You can see that Sniper already spent a TP. He keeps farming the jungle very efficiently. The first power spike Archer abused was Hurricane Pike, and now that he has Blink Dagger, they quickly suspect that Radiant is rushing. As soon as they initiate, I really like how Arteezy instantly decides to go on Sniper. Not only Sniper is a squishy and annoying hero, but Headshot will always reduce Arteezy's DPS during the fights. So he wants to close the gap on him almost always. Since Sniper has Shadow Blade, he takes Oracle down and finally drops the hammer. In the end, it wasn't the best fight, but it was okay. Against Sniper, Blink Dagger is a great item because it allows him to quickly close the gap on the dwarf, especially when you're coming from the outskirts of the fight. It also increases OD's farming capabilities since your farming potential is mainly held back by your lack of mobility. Here, Arteezy's team loses 3 heroes without killing anyone, and while the enemy team pushes, he can spot Sniper with both Track and Observer Ward. Pay attention to his decision making. He gets 3 hits on Sniper and retreats, but Sniper felt like it was all because of Track, and with 1 extra hit, Arteezy grabs a juicy sniper kill. This fight is a crazy one. It all starts with our Canadian boy being initiated in the mid lane. Pretty much all of his item choices prove to be very good for this game and fight in general. Hurricane Pike allows him to disengage as well as Shiva's. That on top of that leaves him with enough HP to keep fighting. He keeps luring everyone towards the top tower, blinks away, and Ursa initiates with ult ready. Linken's protect OD from Legion, and Astro buys time until Ursa's BKB wears off. This game is a terrible game for OD matchup wise. Oracle can nullify one of the hammer targets, disarm OD. Legion and Ursa are just great heroes against him because if he Astros himself, he's just delaying the inevitable. And sometimes he can get initiated in the downtime of Astro that he constantly has to use to farm. After buying enough time in this game, he's able to handle the hard matchups with the farm he conquered during the game. Well, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please guys give it a thumbs up. If you want to see the extended version of this video, please check the link in the description. Pugna is a platform where you can learn from people like Chessie, Fogg, Munib, and get better at the game. They have now great content on the new patch, and if you want to raise your MMR, this is a great time. Just figure out the patch faster than others and get those easy wins. His biggest strength is taking people out of the chronosphere and disengaging afterwards. By disengaging instantly, Void feels like that is an easy kill for him, but he is there, well positioned, and there are no casualties for the Radiant team. Not only that, he earns Underlord and dismembers Void now, and with all of his allies around, there's no way that Void can time walk away, and they secure even more kills.